Internet, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Unpopular Culture, the only show that wrote in Jason David Frank to be our president. And on this week's episode, we have quite a few things to go over. First of all, the Megazord was revealed via toy. And,
no.
It's not good.
No, it's not.
Ryan Reynolds has been busy even before Deadpool 2 can come out. The studio is already working on getting together a director and writer for Deadpool 3, which is going to include some new characters, and we'll talk about that. Ghost Rider has been on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recently, and that has begun rumors of potential Netflix series. We'll see where that goes. China, or as Donald Trump would say, China. They're apparently passing a new law that might affect American films as well, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And then finally, a little bit of Spiderman news. Michael Keaton was finally it was already suspected, but he has been confirmed to be playing the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. So we'll talk about that.
That kind of covers the whole story there, doesn't it?
Kind of. Well, we can stretch it out. That's our job. We gotta stretch it out. But yeah, first.
Hugo.
I'm rocking my Green Ranger hat today, which actually has the Dragon Zord on the bill there. I'm a fan of Power Rangers. It's campy, it's stupid, but I like it.
There's nothing better, like giant robot wise than the first Megazord, is there?
Like
you could maybe make a case for Voltron, but that was just all lions. That's not as cool. Not as cool to me, because there was one lion, sort of, a saber-toothed tiger. I think it was the left leg or the right leg.
Yeah, the thing I like about Power Rangers, at least one of the things, is that it gets very creative in its themes, and I know it comes from Super Sentai. It's not original, but every season, even though it's pretty much the same thing, it's formula, but they're able to do so many different themes with it, and sometimes you get a space theme, sometimes there'll be animals, sometimes there'll be dinosaurs 3 fucking times, but I like the creativity, and the Megazords, they all look different, and they have their own things going for them, and that's cool.
Sure.
But I'm going to show you a picture right now. This is what the Megazord's going to look like, apparently, according to the toys and some maybe leaked concept art. And this is terrible. First of all, let me just say, the color scheme, it's like all gray. It's entirely silver. It's probably a metal type thing.
I assume they're going to add more color to it, but still, like, it doesn't... The Megazord should look like the pieces it's made of. It shouldn't look like it pops in and then, now it's a leg. No, it should look like the other robot. That was what made it neat. Like, that was the fun part, it was like Transformers on steroids.
Yeah,
it was cool.
What were they thinking? I think
the head? Look at the head.
And see, what pisses me off is they clearly are aware of the original Megazord, because if you put a side-by-side of the first Megazord and this one, it has sort of horns, and they kind of pay homage to that here in this design. So it's not like they didn't know. It's not like they didn't look at the original and at least try and have some connection to it. It almost makes me mad that they were like, oh, we'll throw that in there. That's fine. No, it's not fine. It looks like shit, guys. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a Megazord. It looks like generic fighting robot from a different show or something.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, I didn't even want you to do a copy. That would have been lazier, almost.
Yeah.
But this is like the next step in laziness, where you're just like, I don't know, throw the colors in there and just make it a robot, and then we'll color it in. However it works. It's not a Megazord, it's just a robot.
They're also throwing in, instead of the white diamonds like they had in the original, and again, I understand it's a reboot, whatever, gotta change shit. They have the glowy sort of Iron Man chest, which I don't like on the Ranger suits as well. That carries over into the Megazord, which I hate that design choice. Personally, if the movie's good, which I don't think it will be at this point, and they do decide to do a sequel, I hope they do a Zeo and totally fucking revamp the costumes or whatever. Not liking it.
Oh god, I could rant about this for, the wings. The wings? It has wings. Why are there wings?
And there have been Megazords that have
before,
but
but they're still made of the pieces. Like, this one just sprouted them.
Yeah, the Ivan Ooze Power Rangers movie one had wings and flew into space and killed them with a fucking comet.
That one was mega chrome. But again, the concept remained pure in that it was made of the other things.
Yeah.
It was shit. I mean, it was genuine shit, but it was still, snapping into place the other robots to kind of, like make a unified thing. That's kind of the point. They're all separate, sure, but they're more powerful together. And it just and it's campy, and it's supposed to be kind of lame. But you took it and you're like, I don't know, kaiju film, Pacific Rim, Iron Man, we'll make the big bucks. Nah, dude, you're not gonna get any of the nostalgia money now.
I'm so not looking forward to this movie.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. When I saw Doctor Strange last week, actually, by the way, Doctor Strange live show Sunday. There's your plug. The trailer for Power Rangers came on, and it was a pretty busy theater. It was opening night, and there were some assholes in front of us who wouldn't stop talking. And you know, it's a group of people who they're with friends and they're trying to make each other laugh, and they think they're really funny. But like, as someone who,
we're funny.
I think I'm funny. When I hear other people trying to be funny and failing miserably, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, it's because there's clever funny, and then there's smash you over the head funny, and then there's neither of those funny, and it's usually that.
And anyway, so the Power Rangers trailer comes up, and everyone's watching it, and then it ends, and Power Rangers comes up, and they go, oh, and they go, that's gonna suck, and that one actually made me laugh.
Fuck.
Side note, once the movie actually did start, the guy in front of them, who is my hero, turned around and said, okay, the talking needs to stop now.
Good.
And the whole theater laughed at that, and then everyone shut the fuck up and watched the movie.
Good. That's good. I know how much you hate other people existing, so... Which, by the way, you gotta move here. Come do the VIP with me. Everyone's a commoner. Everyone's a commoner. It's
I probably will eventually. We'll see.
You're doing it, or I'll kill you and you'll be dead.
Anyway, other Power Ranger news. I didn't say we were going to talk about this, but actually, the Power Rangers comic book series that is going on right now, it's still Mighty Morphin.
Yeah. It's
not based in the new movie universe or anything. It's based on the original show. Apparently, they're doing a crossover with the Justice League, and it's going to be Power Rangers versus the Justice League.
Okay.
Now,
no, they're going to die.
They're going to
die. Like I said this off camera to Hugo, but to you guys, like, imagine the Flash, like, assuming that those guys are up to snuff. Like, oh, they're picking a fight with us? Obviously, we have to go at them like a normal supervillain. Normal supervillain. And Flash punches Trini like a normal supervillain and blows her fucking chest cavity in, and she dies a second death.
I get it. There's plot contrivance when you're doing a crossover. There's some funny crossovers in comics and really good ones. Like there was Star Trek Planet of the Apes, which I read a little bit of. That was pretty interesting.
That was a time travel one, right?
Yeah. And then there was like Doctor Who, Star Trek. There are things that complement each other and make sense. The only thing that's similar between Power Rangers and the Justice League is that they're both superheroes, but like they're very different kinds of superheroes. The Power Rangers are less strong than like Captain America.
The Power Rangers regularly get beat up by the putties.
Yeah, it's bad news. They're gonna die, so prepare for the Power Rangers to get murdered. I just thought that was funny. So.
Like, what if Superman, again, not thinking like, oh, I'm gonna accidentally murder them, shoots him with his laser eyes. He's gonna cut Jason in half.
Like, literally, they could get the Megazord at full power, and Superman could pick it up and throw it into the sun.
I know, right? Like, even Batman would kill them, because they're just, like, they don't have, like, super quickness or anything when they're in their Power Ranger suits. They just kind of punch harder, and when you hit them, sparks fly.
I guarantee Batman is better at martial arts than the Power Rangers.
No shit, he could take out all five of... He's fought worse. He literally fought Superman.
Oh, you know what they should do in the comic? Because when you're doing these silly crossover comics, it's like it's borderline fan fiction where you just go crazy with it. They need to give Batman, at least for one scene, a morpher, and he becomes like a Bat Ranger for one scene. See how badass he is. That'd be hilarious. It'd
be funny if he was worse and he did it to make a point.
His power coin would be a bat. Made it special. I'm a bat. Anyway,
oh, fuck.
That's enough Power Rangers talk. I'm not excited for this movie. I'm still going to see it because I'm at least hoping if it's bad, it's at least kind of funny bad and that you can make fun of it. So we'll see. We'll talk about it when it comes out.
Moving on to Deadpool news. If you didn't know, we've talked about this in the past, but Deadpool 2 lost its director because apparently more details have come out, actually. It was in this article. The director wanted to use like more CG and more like special effects and make it a bigger spectacle. And Ryan Reynolds and the other writers wanted to keep it more close to home. So this is actually an example of a good thing when they lose a director. Now, this does not translate over to DC's The Flash losing Ken Fujiwara or whatever his name is, for the director of Dope. But so they're on a lookout for a new director for Deadpool 2, and during this whole situation, they've actually it's come out that they're also on the lookout for a director and a screenwriter for Deadpool 3. They're getting pre-production going on Deadpool 3 already. And I know Deadpool 2 is going to deal with Cable, who is a member of the X-Force, and Ryan Reynolds has said that he wants to continue getting deeper into other X-Force and possibly X-Men characters if they were to get the rights. Because Wolverine would be up for grabs later, and Wolverine and Deadpool have a cool history in the comics. So, I don't know, stuff like that could be pretty interesting. It sounds actually like Deadpool's gonna be the new standard for movies. It's like superhero movies, not all movies.
Yeah.
Not like Leo DiCaprio Oscar bait movies.
Birth of a Nation, Casablanca, Jaws,
The Revenant. Yeah, no. We're doing Ryan Reynolds movies.
Yeah, I'm a little worried because honestly, I'm afraid the studio, now that they know it can make money, they're going to try and stick their fingers in it too much and be like, oh no, now we have this thing that we need to protect and make sure we meddle with it and da-da-da-da-da. I hope they have the sense to say, hey, Ryan Reynolds, you did a good job last time. You get kind of creative control of a lot of the aspects. You pick the director, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they will, though.
Well, he got the say over the director in number 2. Like, he is the one that was like, nah, I'll take on more responsibility and thus a bigger paycheck.
Good.
But to push the guy who's ruining the creative vision out, because like kind of the charm of the first Deadpool was there wasn't a bombastic gunfight, even though they wanted that, and I think you need one in the next Deadpool. It just makes sense because he would have been Deadpool for a while, and it makes sense to see that because that's what happens. But I just think that not going all in on that and focusing more on the character was a huge reason why Deadpool did well, because it was genuinely interesting, and you were rooting for Deadpool. Like, and that's weird to do because he's not a hero.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be okay. I'm a little worried still about what's going to happen because after X-Men Apocalypse, it didn't make the money they wanted. I'm not going to necessarily call it a flop because I do think it made a little bit of money, but it didn't make the money they wanted. That was their big summer movie was, Days of Futures Past did really great. We're going to come out with a new one. Apocalypse is in it. Jennifer Lawrence.
That movie was so benign to me. Like, you watch that movie and you're like, yeah, this is a movie in the X-Men universe and it's fine.
It reverted back to the mean as far as I think the quality of X-Men films because
like a hard 6.5.
Yeah, the Days of Futures Past was really great. That's just a great fun movie. So that made me get really excited for Apocalypse. But I don't know. First Class, Days of Futures Past, pretty good. Apocalypse, right back down to the mean with the first 3 X-Men movies. Apparently, there's rumors they're going to reboot X-Men though.
I would like a reboot, but you got to go. It's got to be, like, spread it out kind of like the Avengers movies and kind of like, okay, here's a Cyclops movie, here's a Gambit movie, here's a Wolverine movie, and don't do all origins. We know they're fucking origins. Just kind of make the movies and then have them come together, and it could be interesting if you spend time on the characters, and that's why the X-Men movies suck.
Yeah, they pack them too full of people. They could potentially have their own cinematic universe that people enjoy. Right. I don't ever want the X-Men to join the MCU. It's too busy already. It would just get convoluted. But
the X-Men wouldn't make sense to be in the current MCU anyways. They would have shown up several times. They're like, hey, can we help you with these, aliens are invading the Earth in New York. We live outside the city limits. I think we can chip in.
My only issue if Fox decided to go this route and do individual films, there aren't as many X-Men, in my opinion, if you're an X-Men fan, you're going to disagree, that are interesting enough to carry solo films. Like, no one wants to who wants to see a Cyclops solo film?
I don't right now, but that's because of the current cinematic Cyclops. But I feel like if you did it right, you could make Scott Summers an interesting character. Like you'd have to do it right, though.
Even power-wise, that would be a boring movie to watch, because let's be real, it would be a movie with action set pieces, and the entirety of the fights would be him blasting people with laser eyes.
Right, no, I hear you. I'm with you. I'm not talented enough to make that work. I'm not even saying you should, but you got to figure out a way to kind of break it up and make it character-driven before you make it, here's the X-Men, let's go fight some robots and Magneto again, because no one gives a shit.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. Overall, I am excited for Deadpool, though.
You know, one more thing on the X-Men. Take the Winter Soldier model and extrapolate that to X-Men. X-Men's about racism and the politics they're in of racism and how we look at things that scare us, whether then you can even consider communism and stuff like that. Just a concept that scares the populace at large, when maybe that idea isn't a bad thing, like black people. Not a big deal there, you know? So you explore that in a way that is relatable, like Luke Cage did. Or, sure. You know, like, of course, with political corruption, like the Winter Soldier did. You can, of course, add the character stuff inside that, but it has this overarching theme that we all relate to. That's what you got to do with X-Men, because that's what the comics have done. That's even what the fucking cartoon did.
True. I'd love to see an X-Men that takes a lot from the cartoon, the animated series. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying it needs to be kiddie, you know, show type thing. I'm just saying.
Well, Morph dies immediately.
Well, they made up Morph for
I know they did. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like a typical kid show. Like, he died, and Wolverine mourned him for a year. You know what I mean? Like, is that, where that character experienced genuine grief over a death immediately.
Yeah. True.
And we're all like, what the fuck? We're kids.
Can we please have Wolverine with the fucking yellow costume already? It doesn't have to be bright yellow. Just, you know.
To be fair, that was one of the shorter run costumes. You know, his brown one's the longest running Wolverine costume. Did you know that?
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know.
I think it was just because of the cartoon, honestly, that we think.
That's true, but it's iconic.
I agree with you. I think it's rad.
Yeah.
I think a campy X-Men would be fun as shit. Anyways.
See, well, at the end of Apocalypse, which wasn't a great movie, at the very end, they finally get their X-Men costumes, and now we're probably never going to see them in them again, because I don't think they're going to continue with that series.
Well, anyway. Logan's going to be the last X-Men movie for a while, most likely. And I'm fine with that, but we'll see. Moving on to something that's more Marvel related, I guess. I'm not excited about this, Hugo.
Yeah, Ghost Rider might be getting his own show. I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., by the way, but apparently he's been on. I've seen the ads.
You almost said Asians of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I did not.
You kind of slurred it just a little bit.
Well, there are some Asians on that show, so let's call it a wash. But yeah, Ghost Rider could get his own Netflix series. I don't watch, like I said, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I have seen some GIFs and stuff. And I'm actually pretty impressed for a network show, the effects they were able to do on him. There's actually kind of a cool scene that I've seen a GIF where it shows the Punisher fighting his way through prison from Daredevil Season 2. And then apparently in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ghost Rider gets arrested in human form, but then he turns into Ghost Rider and he walks down a hallway, but instead of fighting all the prisoners, they're scared of him and lock their own cells and stuff as he walks by. It was kind of fun.
If you do it on Netflix, I have faith in Netflix. But Ghost Rider's boring to me.
This is not Johnny Blaze, by the way. This is Robbie Reyes, who is the new Ghost Rider. He has a muscle car, basically, instead of a motorcycle.
Is this their way of deleting Nick Cage from the MCU?
Maybe. That was never officially part of it, but I get what
you're
saying.
Hulk is a part of it, so Ghost Rider's pretty close.
The Incredible Hulk is,
that's
not
what
the
I
Ang Lee
meant.
Hulk.
Whatever, you know, the Ed Norton one.
Yeah, but I don't know. Ghost Rider is not. I'm hoping if they do a Netflix series, I'd prefer Johnny Blaze just because I think the motorcycle is a cooler vehicle. Honestly, I think the muscle car is just boring.
Johnny Blaze is a super dumb name, though.
Yes, it is. But
it's pretty on the nose for a guy who doesn't know he's going to be Ghost Rider yet.
Yeah. Did you know he's not even the first Ghost Rider? There was a Ghost Rider before him.
Oh, really? Who was that?
It was, I don't know the guy's name.
Ted Fire?
He had a horse. No, he actually
had a horse.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. It was more Western type thing, but he wasn't on fire. He looked more like a ghost, and the horse was ghostly too, and he was Ghost Rider, and then eventually they kind of did it with Johnny Blaze, and it was the Ghost Rider.
Doesn't he get souls for Satan or some shit?
All I know about Ghost Rider is pretty much the shitty Nick Cage movies. There was a deal with the devil, or Mephisto. I don't know which one Mephisto's
now.
That. Oh, whatever. And he's supposed to get souls for him, but then he breaks free and doesn't, and he fights him or some shit.
That's just motorcycle Spawn.
A little bit, yeah, I guess so.
Although it's probably Spawn's after that. So anyways, I'm not excited about it necessarily, but I do trust Netflix, so if they go for it, I will obviously watch it.
What I would like is in the same vein of Defenders, I'd like a supernatural group of characters to get their own shows. So like Ghost Rider, Blade would be cool. You know, a couple characters like that, maybe 4 or 5, and then they get a group series or something where they're fighting some supernatural foe.
Sure.
I think
I could never have enough nerdy things in my life, so yeah, I'm good with that.
Blade would make a great Netflix show.
Wesley Snipes would be so pissed.
Oh, he's gonna be.
Yeah.
He could. Oh no! If they do a Blade show, they can hire Wesley Snipes to be the black father figure that dies in the series, because every Netflix series has that now for some reason. He can be Blades' pops, like from Luke Cage, or the newspaper guy from Daredevil season 1, or the cop from Jessica Jones, or I'm sure there's more. I don't know, but you get the idea.
Yeah, that's weird. It's a weird trope. I wonder who Punisher is. Punisher's family like the equivalent of one black guy?
It's actually, fun fact, his family entirely made up of over 50 black guys. So he was in the park with his family and his little kid that looks like Carl Winslow from Family Matters.
Frank Castle was a very progressive guy before his tragedy. So, anyways, speaking of something that's not progressive,
So I guess China just passed a law, and we'll talk about the ramifications of this for the U.S. market, but the law states its aim is to spread core socialist values and enrich the masses' spiritual and cultural life and set ground rules for the industry being the film industry.
This sounds like something that's gone too far left.
It forbids content that stirs up opposition to the law or constitution, harms national unity, sovereignty, or territorial integrity, exposes national secrets, harms Chinese security, dishonesty, honor or our interests, or spreads terrorism or extremism. Also bans subjects that defame the people's excellent cultural traditions, incite ethnic hatred, discrimination, or destroy ethnic unity.
So nothing. You can't do anything.
This is bad authoritarianism, and people talk about China. I don't think as much a communism problem as it is an authoritarian problem, although certainly
they have free market areas like Hong Kong and stuff like that. And if you recognize Taiwan as a nation, as you should.
China is such a weird situation right now because on the surface they're apparently communistic, but I think only to the level that it serves the party because it allows them to be very authoritarian and control people. But there's upcoming people. There's millionaires and billionaires starting to come out of China because they have loosened restrictions on private businesses and stuff. But then you get shit like this that is so backward, and unfortunately is going to affect other places in the world because China is becoming such a burgeoning market because they are starting to have people who are coming out of poverty because wages and stuff are starting to rise there. They're becoming a huge film market. It's projected that sometime in the next couple decades, movies are going to make their money in China, not the United States or Europe or Australia.
Well, yeah, there's like 400 billion people there.
Yeah, they're going to set the tone for the films because if Hollywood wants to continue to make movies and make them profitably, they're going to have to cater to that market. And as of right now, there is a cap on how many foreign films can be released in China. So I think it's 30-something, and generally it's stuff like Transformers, the Marvel movies, big budget things, not stuff like Ghostbusters because they also ban any sort of supernatural like stuff from the movies.
So Doctor Strange did not get released there.
So this could be an issue. We already see this in stuff like the MCU, where they're shoving in China stuff because apparently it gets more leeway to get released there if they do that. And this is also why a lot of films' third acts now take place in China or Hong Kong.
Doctor Strange again, but they couldn't have shown it there, so I don't know why they...
Well, they don't allow ghosts, but do they allow magic? I'm trying to think.
Well, it was very supernatural. Like if you're
suppose.
defining it, Doctor Strange is right in there.
Fair. That makes me wonder if they're going to be able to see like Avengers now, because if Doctor Strange is in it, you know what I mean?
I don't really care what they can see. Let's be real.
That's fair. But anyway,
They're doing this. If they're doing this to their people, where they're just like, hey, you can't express freely what you would like to in an art medium, then no,
Right.
fuck off.
So I'm afraid this is going to affect the American film industry eventually, because they're going to start catering to that shit, and it's going to become almost, I'm not going to say hard propaganda, but a soft propaganda arm of China, which would be unfortunate. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. What I would like is, if, for one, ideally, people in China would get enough of this shit, and eventually younger people would come and be like, no, we're going to do our thing, we demand these rights, whatever.
Right.
And I think that will happen eventually. It's
Same.
Takes time, especially in the age of information. Stuff like this gets out, and I'm sure there's a ton of young people there who are pissed off at the system.
They have
whatever.
a similar generation of baby boomers that we do.
True.
I mean, because everyone was in that war. So basically, we're kind of experiencing these last authoritarian / fascist breaths around the world, and now not purely authoritarian or purely fascist, but you're seeing these very extreme, either left or right wings, depending on where the thing is, get power or get, I don't know, change movies forever sort of thing. I feel like the younger generations are going to be like, nah, fuck that though. We want a lot of freedoms. We really enjoy doing a ton of different shit. Because now the internet's a thing and everyone can talk to each other, and someone's like, whoa, you have access to clown porn? I would like to partake in clown porn, but my country doesn't let us because it devalues the socialist state. And then, so now there's a bunch of clown porn enthusiast young people. They're going to rise up. That's exactly how it's going to go. It's going to be called the clown porn revolution.
That was
Mark it down.
That was an interesting example to use, but I hear you.
Right? Yeah. Freedom to express. Honking clown noses and getting squirted with those little joke flowers and then coming on those joke flowers.
I was going to say you put the joke flower
in your butt
by the vagina, and then they're a squirter.
Well, I mean, Asian women can't do that. I don't know.
It's pee. It's pee,
It's
people.
just pee.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's just urine. Anyways, Michael Keaton, also into clown porn. He's confirmed as the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, which looks like it's going to be a cool movie. I really like Spider-Man's appearance in Civil War. That was fun. So, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, it doesn't really excite me. Except Michael Keaton. He's fun. He's a little crazy. He's been doing good comedy.
It's so funny that in Birdman, which is a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen Birdman, definitely check it out. He played Birdman, and now he's basically playing a Birdman in Spider-Man. It's also funny that movie kind of made fun of comic book movies a little bit.
That movie made fun of him playing Batman.
I know, but it also rallied against superhero movies and big budget things. I don't know how much of that is genuine disdain or how much of it is just, hey, isn't this kind of a ridiculous thing? I don't know.
Well, because acting is sort of like an art, and there are movies that are art, but let's be real, Iron Man 3 is not art.
No, it's not.
It's just gratuitous, and that's okay. There's room for that. But yeah, I get it. I get why Birdman would do that. But yeah, now he's doing it. He's part of it. Keaton, you hypocrite.
Oh, the check they must be writing him is probably ridiculous.
I'm excited though. I hope he has a lot of monologues, and I hope he's super weird.
Michael Keaton's a really good actor, so I hope they can break the streak of terrible villains. I mean, we're going to talk about Doctor Strange on Sunday, but I'm not a big fan of the villain in that either. So
Mads Mikkelsen.
I know, and he's such a great actor too. And they
magic purple eyes, Hugo.
They couldn't pull it out. They couldn't pull it out for him.
Purple eyes.
Why did he steal the book? The library was open to everyone. You can just read it.
He stole the book.
Also, for some reason, they're in weird cages with chains, even though we have bookshelves.
Stylistic. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna cut this guy's heads off with my minions, even though I could have just done this here.
Doctor Strange does the same thing he does. It's super weird.
Anyway.
Like literally the same thing.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't. Anyway. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's like, well, yeah, you could have just done that. Like, get over yourself. Anyways. Is that it? Do we want to talk about Michael Keaton anymore? I don't really have any more to say on it.
There's not a lot. I think it's cool. I think that's a good choice for Spider-Man going up against his first villain in his first solo movie. That's a good one to start on. I'm glad they're not going Green Goblin again, especially after Amazing Spider-Man.
Is he going to be
2.
like Cannibal Vulture, though? Or is it going to be like...
Oh, I don't think MCU would go
come
that
on,
dark.
cannibalize some people, Michael Keaton.
I don't think they'd do that.
In fact, they might have to talk regular Michael Keaton from actually cannibalizing people like he normally does in order to play this role.
Also, I sent, I don't know, did we talk about the pictures I sent you a couple months ago when we saw the Shocker was going to be in this?
That sounds more like you sent me pictures of you performing the Shocker.
Anyway, Shocker, he's like a bank robber who uses these gloves that create seismic waves, pretty much. He's going to be in the movie, and the costume looks pretty cool. I like the idea. One of my favorite parts of the MCU was seeing them try and translate these silly costumes into real life, and the Shocker has one of the more silly costumes there are. It's yellow with like a checker pattern. It's really fucking stupid, but in the movie it kind of makes sense. He's a bank robber. He's wearing a thing over his face. It makes sense.
Do you think that's going to be like the opening homage to other Spider-Man movies villain?
Do you remember a couple months ago I told you about someone who said they had seen the script and they described a scene with a bank robbery at the beginning? Maybe that's it. Maybe they were right.
Oh,
that would make sense.
I think it's. I always like movies that kind of forego. We all know the Uncle Ben story. We saw Tobey Maguire cry enough times. We've seen Andrew Garfield cry enough times, and then do a montage over top of whatever popular pop music was at the time. I don't think I don't need this guy doing that too. So yeah, just jump me into the middle of him starting to fight crime because Iron Man helped him out with the suit and stuff, and have it be the Shocker. That's cool. We don't need to know about the Shocker. No one gives a fuck about the Shocker. But he's a cool enough villain to carry a short 5 to 10 minute opening scene, but not a whole film. I think the Vulture is much more interesting. I thought Mysterio would have been a better way to go, but
I hope we get a Mysterio at some point. What a fun villain! The fact that he uses illusions and stuff. I think he could do some cool stuff in a movie like that.
I wouldn't hate if they got D'Onofrio for a film, because
Kingpin is. Kingpin. Oh, you mean as Kingpin?
Oh yeah, right. As Kingpin. Right.
That'd be great. That would translate really well, actually. Although
he's a movie actor too, so I think it's fine.
I'm afraid that they'd be afraid to do it because they think people wouldn't understand who he is necessarily.
Well,
I mean,
all you gotta do is set up the fact that he's called the Kingpin, and people have watched Daredevil. Like if you watch the Marvel movies, you watch Daredevil. Like that's just
I know, but
kids don't give a fuck. So
movie studio people would be like, well, we got to get the biggest audience, including people who don't like Daredevil. Also, they'd neuter his violence. He wouldn't be nearly as bombastic and violent because it's
of course, but I feel like if you do that off screen, because you know of what he can do in Daredevil, it still is effective. It doesn't really matter because at this point, he smashed a guy's head in with a fucking car door. I think we get it.
He decapitated him. He didn't just smash his head.
Well, he smashed it so much that it was effective decapitation. Anyways, like it was just pulp and it couldn't hold together anymore.
I get it.
Yeah, that's it for the show. But on Sunday, we will be doing our Doctor Strange live stream. So if you haven't seen it yet, see it tonight, right now.
I'm seeing it again tomorrow in 3D. Actually,
there you go. Like it honestly probably worth your price of admission for 3D. It's a really good movie. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's in my top 4. So really? Spoilers, it's really good.
I liked it, but I don't know if it's in my top 5.
Well, Hugo is a pessimist and is void of joy, so that's okay.
Well, we'll talk about it on Sunday and why you liked it more than me. Should be good conversation.
You're garbage.
Yeah. Anyway, you can always follow us on Twitter at @TheRealUnpop. You can subscribe. That'd be cool. Other than that, until next time, I'm Hugo.
Jake.
They can't all end on a high note. Sometimes things just need to peter out. That's just how life is sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Live with it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
See you guys later.